My third motorsport memory is going to be the winning the Alaman Senior TT in 1990. It's 30 years ago now. It's hard to believe, but yeah, it's a place that pretty special to me, really. All my childhood memories are really at the Alaman, to be fair. My father used to race. So as a kid, I was like, got a week off school or 2 weeks off school, which was great. I went to the Alaman to watch my dad racing. So I was there from 1-year-old to probably 15 years old, really. So I started going on my own and started racing. So I always wanted to win the TT. It was a big thing for me. I won the Manx Grand Prix Newcomers in '85. So I did the TT for the first time in '86. It took a few years to learn the place, really. It wasn't until about '89 that I figured out how to win on the circuit, due to the fastest two guys at that time, Dave Leach and Steve Islop, showed me how to race around the circuit and win in the same race that I did go and win and beat the two guys in the 750 production race in '89. So after that year was over, I kind of thought, right, I'm gonna win the two big races next year. I was that confident back then, really. And after I'd only got the little trophy for winning the race, I was gutted because I thought, you get a big statue trophy, for the TT and that, but it was only for the main races, really, like the Superbike race and the senior and junior races, So when I went back the year after, I was very, very confident, really, and Steve Islop wasn't the main man to beat. He was the only guy really that could probably stop me from winning, and he set off in front of me. I don't think he liked that too much. So I kind of, with me being his teammate, I got in his head a little bit, and wasn't the easiest person to be around. I think I kind of mentally destroyed him, really, in the practice and the first race, and won the first Superbike race. But I always wanted to win the Senior TT, so it came to the Senior TT race day. It was horrendous weather. They probably wouldn't even run it now, It's well, they wouldn't run it because it was wet, pouring down. And I was set off 20 seconds behind Steve. I remember kind of winding up saying, "I'll catch you soon, mate, catch you soon." And I could tell he wasn't happy about it. He didn't really want to race that day with the weather and stuff, I don't think. And when the race started, off I went, and I pushed pretty hard, to be fair, probably a little bit too hard. I mean, I'm still here now, so in some ways, I guess I'm lucky, really. A lot of people probably push less hard than I have around and are no longer here today. So I took a few chances early on and running wide in a few places, and very wet it was, and I caught him pretty much straight away in Kurt Michael on the first lap, pulled the 20 seconds back on him, and I think that was enough for him. He didn't want it off that. And to be honest, the race was really wet on that second lap. It really was. As I came for a pit stop, it was bouncing off the floor of the pit lane. It really was. And I just thought, God, this is horrendous. But I had quite a decent lead at that point, really, and I think Steve pulled in. That was enough for him. So as the race went on, it got better and better, the conditions. And I was so far in front on the last lap, I had time to think about it and just thought, oh my God, I'm going to win the Senior TT race. I've watched, my dad tried to win and he finished second. Best he did was behind Joey. He did a lot when Joey won his first TT. So I'm coming over the mountain, down the mountain towards Craignabar, and I was getting very emotional and filled up in my helmet a little bit, thinking, this is it, winning the Senior TT. And I was kind of having a word with myself, come on, get a grip here. You can run out of field, something could go wrong in the last few miles, and you've got to make it home first. And obviously made it home and won the race by, I can't remember what it was, 50 seconds, maybe even more. And that was it. It was just the emotions and relief and the joy of winning, this blue ribbon race at the Alaman TT, which is something that can never be taken from me. And then that was it, really. I was just going to win, wanted to win that and move on and never come back, really. But obviously I did end up coming back, and I'm probably more famous for another race in '92, which is called the greatest race of all time. But for my third memory, I thought I'd go for that Senior TT win, which was really special to me at the time and still is today. So my second motorsport memory, I've gone for Hockenheim, 1996, which was me winning on a Honda, switching to Honda after winning 2 world titles back-to-back on the Ducati. Not right sure why I switched. In hindsight, if I had my time again, I probably wouldn't do that. But I did, and it wasn't the easiest of starts this season. Far from it. We had a bit of a nightmare in winter testing. Everywhere we seemed to rain. The first race at Mazzano had a big crash in practice and finished like 7th and 6th or something, I think it was. The next race at Donington, and the results didn't get any better there. So by the time I arrived in Hockenheim, I was feeling pretty low, and then my mechanic had been sacked, which made things even worse. Slick, who was with me throughout most of my career. Again, I had a big crash in practice at Hockenheim. I thought I broke my wrist at one point, but I hadn't done, obviously. But it just felt everything was against me. I just felt I never felt as low ever in racing, if I think about it now. And then the first race, I finished 5th, I think. It was just a bit of a lonely race, and I think my teammate Aaron Slat on the same bike who won the race. So it made it even worse, really. I'm reigning world champion. I'm just nowhere, not knowing which, where to turn to make this thing right, But in that 2-hour break in between, or 2 or 3 hour break in between races, I noticed something about my bike when it was being pushed back to the park fermé or to the garage. I can't remember what it was now. I was walking, wherever I was walking, the bikes came wheeling out on somewhere, and Aaron's bike and my bike. And as I'm walking behind them both, I noticed Aaron's ride out was really high and mine was really low. And I started looking and thinking about it. I thought, I struggled with stability and turning the bike and holding a line, but by putting the bike generally higher up, it make it more unstable. So I just said to him, I can't look, just put it the same ride out as what he's got, jacket right up at the rear. Let's just see what happens. I've got nothing to lose. But even my daughter was having a go at me saying, Dad, it's your fault. Why are you not winning anymore? And she's been used to winning and whatnot. Honestly, I couldn't be any more lower than what I was. And then the second race came, and I got a hell of a start. A flying start, pretty much led into the first corner. But second and third, and I just stuck with the leaders, and I just grew and grew and grew in confidence with the bike. It working so much better than there had been the last 2 rounds or whatever. And my confidence kept growing and growing. It got to a point was during the race, I thought the bike wasn't really the fastest one. Aaron's bike for some reason was a little bit faster top speed, and the Ducatis, but I could stay in the slipstream. But I was so much faster through the corners, I felt, and I was growing more confident. I thought, I'm going to win this race. Nothing's going to stop me winning this race. Absolutely nothing. Because I felt I was the fastest guy out there through chicanes, around the fast corners down the bottom. I can't remember the name of them now. So I just thought I need to be in the right place on the last lap here. And it was all about just being in second place, coming out that last chicane. And that's what I did. I got into second place. I think past John Kaczynski going into chicane, then followed Aaron through it. And I just thought, slipstreaming right up. So I couldn't really pull out and pass. Like I said, it wasn't really as fast as his bike for some reason. And just wherever he hit the brakes, I hit later. And I just thought, wherever you used to hit the brakes, I'm going after you. If it means breaking in the grandstand further on, I'm not bothered. I ain't losing this. And I got the inside of him. It just a bit of a wobble going in, that's it. And I held him off and won that race from nowhere. Nobody expected it. I didn't expect it. So from an all-time low 2 hours before to a massive high that I've just won this first race on the Honda. Apparently the press centre went mad and everything. It was all, oh, thank God he's back, and that kick-started my season. And I won the next race as well in Monza. And it helped my season a lot, that one win. But just a lot of things that seemed to fall into place in that 2 or 3 hour period. Danielle having a go at me and seeing the bikes, how different they were, and we put it all right. And I just grew in confidence. And the old Foggy was back, and we won the race. That was great. I think I've gone for best motorsport memory. I've gone for the first World Superbike title win in 1994 in Phillip Island, Australia. It was a difficult year, really. I've just missed out on winning the World Championship in '93. Should have won it, really. I was a bit inconsistent. I think I won 12 races. I think it was 12, 11, 12 to Scott's 4 or 5. But the consistency let me down. So that was something I was conscious of in '94. And it kicks off with a couple of win at Donington. That broke my wrist at the second round at Hockenheim, of all places. So it was a funny year, really. He was inconsistent for a while, and then I came back and won some races, and it just to and fro throughout the year, and it just came down to the very last race of the year in Australia. And I just thought, well, whatever's going to happen is going to happen, really. I didn't know how much I liked or didn't like Phillip Island, really. I'd done the 8 hour race there 2 years before, won it actually. So I thought, I knew the circuit all right, but I wasn't sure if I really liked it. That was a wet sort of 6 hour race, really. There weren't really much competition, if I'm honest. So going out there, I wanted to keep my mouth shut, kept my head down, and just concentrate on making sure I got the right setup for the bike come Sunday. The right rear tyre was really important back then. And, I remember qualifying went really well. I didn't get the best lap. I didn't get a very clear lap, but I still ended up second, I think it was. I knew I could go quite a bit faster. So the race came, and I kind of got my head down. I got into the rhythm in the first race and won it. And then that's what I need to do, is do all the hard work in that first race, really. Get the points, get in the bag, and then I could control the second race, which is what I did, really. I just watched whatever Scott was doing. I think I was about 8 points in the lead, so I just sat behind him. His teammate Anthony Goldberg cleared off. I wasn't too worried about that. I just thought, just sit here, because the guys were a bit fragile back then as well. Just keep the revs down, just follow him. But he kept looking around and thought, if he had a towel, he probably would have thrown it in. He just went, you know what, this is yours. I think he had a bit of a tyre issue. And so I came past. I wondered what he was doing at first. I thought, there's only a few laps to go here. You know, if I break down now, he wins the world title. It's crazy what he did in a way. But I thought maybe he's going to try and knock me off or something. You know, so I got in front of him, and I was riding a bit nervous for about half a lap. I looked back and noticed I pulled away, and then I started the last lap and thought, well, this is it. It's in the bag. As long as this thing keeps going, you're the world champion, which, you know, can never be taken away. And it was just the relief, the emotions again, just that 2 years really. What should have won in '93, then the drama of the season in '94 with broken wrists and a few reliability issues with the bike and stuff, and coming back from there and going to the other side of the world, the last lap, the last corner, so the last race of the year, you know, across the line, it just collapsed over the tank with just the relief, the emotion of winning that first world title, which is, I think winning the first one's always a bit special than winning as many as you go on to win after, really, because that first one's, you know, the first one, and it's never going to be taken away from me. That whatever happens after racing. So yeah, that's my favourite sporting memory, I guess. Yeah, we're all out having a few beers that night. I remember Terry Ryan being there. My good mate James Whittam was there, Scott Russell as well. Aaron Slater, all a few beers. I seem to remember Terry Ryan jumping in the pool, but he jumped in at the wrong end and smacked his nose. He dived in. It was a shallow end, not the deep end. I remember that. Yeah, it could have been quite nasty, to be honest, but he just couldn't with a bloody nose, and that was about it, really. But yeah, I think, to be honest, it was hard work. It was just the emotions and relief. You just totally exhausted them. But yeah, we had a few beers that night. I remember that was all I can remember, really. And then obviously the long journey home and the celebrations when we got home, really, I guess. Yeah, it was great when I got back, really, because there's a big turnout at Manchester Airport. I didn't expect that. There were like 200 or 300 people and flags and T-shirts and whatnot, and a few bits of press, which is something I'd never experienced before. It was all new. I didn't expect that, you know. So it was amazing to have that. And then straight away, I was down at Blackburn Rovers that year. I think that was the year they went on to win the Premiership. They had me down there as guest of honour the next match. I think I was lighting it was about November time when I got back, just before end of October, and I lit the bonfire in Blackburn for bonfire night. So we did all these crazy things that, you know, you didn't expect to happen, really. I just wanted to race motorbikes and win races, and obviously when you win world titles and the sport became quite big, you know, became a bit of a household name even then, sort of thing, with the Sky coverage on TV and stuff. So you wasn't really prepared for all that, but you know, I had to handle it and deal with it, really. When I probably wasn't the easiest to deal with it. I can deal with it a lot easier now than I could back then, but I managed